We see them in our neighborhoods every day, prowling the streets, saying they're just there to protect us. In reality, it's these people who commit the greatest crimes and defend the greatest criminals. This force, which occupies our society, is what we call the police. In this video, we will address the nature of this force, why they violently suppress the public, and what needs to be done to solve the problem of the police. We can't imagine a modern society without individuals specifically tasked with defending the public and bringing about justice. Every year, billions are spent with strengthening this policing apparatus in America. But since the early 90s, crime rates, particularly of violent crimes, have plummeted. Despite this recent trend, the average budget for police has skyrocketed. Their use of costly military equipment and training has continually grown on national and local levels. As the size and expenditure of the police increases, their impact on the public does too. Of the 328 million Americans, over 2.2 million are currently being imprisoned, with an additional 4.2 million adults under state supervision. This level of incarceration exceeds that of any other country in the world. Even still, this is the lowest level of incarceration seen in America since the early 90s. These people are abandoned by society, and many return to the criminal life that they know best. The problem of police violence, which has always stood out in the US, has been thrown into the light by massive protests, most recently in the summer of 2020. These protests have been organized largely in response to the abuse of African Americans, who, despite being a 13% minority of the population, suffer 39% of all police killings. During these demonstrations, the slogan, "Defund the Police," was picked up and spread by numerous activist groups. But will this demand change the situation we're in? The Californian city of San Diego gives us a good example of what police defunding, in combination with so-called community policing, looks like. Between 2000 and 2017, police spending dropped by 26%, the largest of any decrease in the US. Today, San Diego has fewer full-time police officers than any other comparable American city. Of course, police reports have decreased in total, but this trend also corresponds with the national decline in crime. The real impact which budgetary restrictions have made remains unclear, particularly when we look closer at police abuse. For example, the official number of fatal police shootings in San Diego County between 1995 and 2015 was 97. The San Diego Union Tribune's database brings this figure up to 218. In 2017, the San Diego DA reported a total of 20 officer-involved shootings. In Dallas, Texas, an American city with a comparable population size, there were only 7. The fact is that San Diego's number of shootings and other forms of police misconduct are not substantially different from the American norm. This reality flies in the face of the community-led policing advocates who believe that they can reconcile the hostility between people and the police. We can see that American policing is a vicious cycle. Even though policing and police funding increases, crimes don't decrease, but the number of prisoners remains outsized, year after year. Some say that there will always be criminals and that the state violence isn't the fault of the police. But the truth is that cops and politicians aren't interested in lowering the crime rate at all, whether committed by themselves or anyone else. Their supporters will claim that the police defend law and order, but we must ask, what is the nature of this law? The state itself is a social mechanism for one class to suppress another. In today's state, the minority of wealthy capitalists suppress the majority, the working class. This government is a management by committee on behalf of the whole capitalist class, and its laws are their will, fixed in the judicial system. The police are one of the central institutions of the state. This means that the primary objective of the police is not to resolve the social problem of crime, but to defend the government's ruling class of capitalists. Violence is the resort of this system, precisely because the financial interests of capitalists directly contradict the essential human needs of the working people. This conflict can only be resolved in favor of the current ruling class and its laws through killings and imprisonment. This is why the police have to suppress demonstrations and workers' strikes so brutally. We can see that defunding the police doesn't resolve the situation we find ourselves in. So we must examine the other rallying cry: abolish the police. What exactly does this demand mean? For Marxists, this historically progressive goal is possible only through material means, by the ultimate abolition of the exploitation of man by man. Friedrich Engels directly addresses the liberal argument against political force, saying, "The anti-authoritarians demand that the political state be abolished at one stroke, even before the social conditions that gave birth to it have been destroyed. They demand that the first act of the social revolution shall be the abolition of authority." Have these gentlemen ever seen a revolution? A revolution is certainly the most authoritarian thing there is. It is the act whereby one part of the population imposes its will upon the other part by means of rifles, bayonets, and cannon, authoritarian means. Engels makes us question why putting them up against the wall is less authoritarian or oppressive than trial and imprisonment. Armed force must be at hand for working people to defy the incredible, terroristic violence which the ruling class will use to destroy the revolutionary movement. In the immediate revolutionary situation, after the February overthrow of the Russian monarchy, the Bolsheviks advocated for the universal armament of the people. The power of the workers' organizations was so great at that time that they forced the factory capitalists to fund the militias themselves. On this disciplined use of force by the masses, Lenin says that men and women must learn, one and all, how to use arms. They must belong, one and all, to the militia, which is to replace the police and the standing army. The workers do not want a standing army apart from the people. What they want is that the workers and soldiers should merge into a single militia consisting of all the people. After the October Revolution, one of the primary tasks of the Soviet state was to resolve the issue of the hatred of police. Many of the most despised officers had abandoned their positions to join the counter-revolution, further weakening the old system. Using the armed population as its basis, a new force was organized to repel the attacks of counter-revolutionaries. This well-organized popular militia, called in Russian the Workers' and Peasants' Militia, essentially created a new force for policing. In the socialist state, the militaristic nature of policing is not excused away through euphemism, like the bourgeoisie must do to disguise its own dictatorship. Organized force is a necessary tool which society must be able to use responsibly, since the racist and reactionary interests, particularly of the rich, remain behind to oppose popular democracy. This reconciliation is only possible when the existing police administration has been completely thrown out with all its racist baggage and is replaced with an administration based on the political participation of all people. The problem of the police is the problem of capitalism itself, a problem of the society based on exploitation. The police will never be meaningfully defunded or abolished because they fulfill the essential functions of capitalist government. The only way to accomplish these goals is to replace the existing political system with one of workers' control and an organized people's militia. Under the stage of development that is socialist society, it remains necessary to oppose the bourgeoisie by force of arms, and to enforce the decisions of the majority on this powerful minority. This force must be of the workers themselves, through their universal armament and organization. It is only through the development of socialism that Americans can finally bury the forces of racist abuse and abolish the police. Like, share this video, and subscribe. Stay tuned.